Hello students, welcome to English lessons of class 12th, part 2 of the second poem, An Elementary School Classroom in Islam. I hope you must have gone through part 1 of this poem, the two verses which I had already explained. Now I am here with the remaining two verses of the poem, so let's begin. I am here with the third stanza. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones, and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. So, blot their maps with slums as big as doom. As we had already seen in the first verse, the poet Stephen Spender is giving vivid description of the children in the slum. Second stanza, we have seen the donations placed on the classroom walls of the slum. And now the third stanza, the poet is criticizing about all the donations which are placed on classroom walls. Because whatever the donations are on the classroom walls, that gives children to imagine about the bright world, whereas their world is completely uncertain, dark and foggy. Fine. Now I would like to explain you here everything, you see, starting from Shakespeare. Shakespeare, a famous poet and writer, he often wrote about kings and queens. As I told you yesterday, it was of an aristocratic family. His poetry, what does his poetry reflect? It reflects a life of pomp and show, wealth and glamour. Fine. So when exposing the slum children to his works, it is not a good idea. That's what the poet says. Because why? It made them also dream and imagine a world of wealth and riches for themselves. And we know that it is far, far beyond their reach. It is far from their reach. The map, a bad example. Why? In the map, physical, political, we see ships and sun, love tempting them to steal. Yes. Books, map mentioning ships, cities, towns, the bright sun, and stories about love. These all things encourage the slum children to lead a life of crime. Why? Because they are very far from such things. So if they imagine they would like to have these things, in order to have, what will they do? They may enter into the life of crime. From fog to endless night, right? Fog and endless night means here life of hopelessness and despair. A life without any light, we can say, towards the end of their life. On their slag heap. Okay, here slag heap. Here slag heap refers to the wasted bodies of the children. The children in the slums are so malnourished and starved and emaciated that their bodies are wasted away. It is considered as a slag heap. Okay, so waste. These children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass. Skins peeped through by bones. Fine. That is, they wear skins peeped through by bones means they are so malnourished, their skin is visible, okay, through bones. And spectacles of steel with mended glass. So whatever the glasses they wore, that is mended glass, as if like bottle bits on stones. Again, similarly, the poet is using here. The glass is completely fractured, right? If you throw stone at the glass will be completely fractured. Though it may not come out completely, but like that, there's whatever the specs they are wearing, that is completely mended, totally mended glass, and it seems that like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. Yes, whatever the time they spend and wherever they live, everything is completely dark, uncertain, and unclear. also blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So the poet says, Stephen Spencer says, forget about the map, forget about the world which has shown to them. This is not, they are not going to reach there. It is far, far from their reach. So forget about it, because the life is going to be sealed in this slum only. Doom. Doom means decay, death. Till they die, they are going to live in this slum area. Fine. Now I have given few points of explanation here. These pictures on the wall have no meaning for the children as they are far, far from their reach. Second point, the children's upbringing is such that they are looking for bad qualities in everyone. Bad qualities, as I explained you with regard to Shakespeare, right? His works. Why do they consider bad qualities, or they look for bad qualities? Even Shakespeare is wicked and bad because there is no benefit, right, to study about his works, because they are not going to reach there. It is not going, they are not going to see that world. Fine. Then the pictures of maps, ships, sun, these all indicate travel, love, and acceptance. Correct. Whenever you see something, you feel like going there, to see there, to experience it, right? And comprehending these pictures is beyond their abilities. Understanding these pictures, it's not their ability. They won't be able to understand it because since their birth, they have been living in the slum area, right? Instead, the desire for love and acceptance will force them to do crimes like stealing. Correct? Right? If they, because after all, they are children. When children see something new, they would like to have it. They would like to experience it. They would like to see it. And in order to do that, what will they do? Here they don't have any access, right? So what will they? Obvious, it will force them to do crimes, right? Like stealing, robbery, and all. Crammed holes here refers to is a metaphor. What does it indicate? They're small home which are filled to capacity. You know, slum area and all, you see one small room, entire family members they reside in it. So it's very congested. It's very cramped holes. They have adapted themselves to live in these spaces. They have adapted, right? The government, even to the slum area and all, they are used to. From for alliteration, FF sound is used here. Fog again is a metaphor used for day. Even their daytime is also like foggy, dark, and unclear. Endless night is a metaphor to indicate a never-ending torture. Here, torture refers to they have to work here and there in order to survive, right? On the shabby, and they have to live in the shabby environment, okay, for a long time. So that is endless. That is endless, never-ending means to say. The children are so skinny that their clothes are like a skin and their skeleton is visible through them. This is due to lack of nutrition, okay, as I explained. They have worn looking glasses made of steel, which are cheap, heavy, and uncomfortable because it is mended. As I told you, mended glass, repaired one, okay, and it seems like bottle bits on stones, as if the glasses are completely fractured. Okay, so their chance of escaping have been further reduced by building. Sorry, I have come in another. Sorry for interruption, children. This signifies that their outlook on life is also hardened with their life's ruthlessness. The way they look at life, okay, that also becomes very, very full of struggle. Okay, so they are living life of hopelessness. Like bottle bits on stones is a simile to describe the lenses in their spectacles which have been repaired. Similarly, see, this is a very important line. Their dreams have also been broken by the harsh reality of their lives. Dreams are also been broken. Why? Because they have to accept harsh the realities of life. It's very harsh, full of struggle, right? Hopelessness. All of their time and space are foggy slum. Again, some metaphor to show that their life is dark, dirty, and without any hope. Their chances of escaping have been further reduced by building bigger slums. See, the slum children, even if they want to do something, no one from the government authorities, they just construct this, they just expand the slum area so that they can accommodate these people then and there only. Okay, so they don't get any chance to come out from the slum area to go to urban area and to do something. The schools and government making these slums is the cause for these people to live in them. So it is the area provided to them, they have to survive there only. The education system is such that it is forcing them to live in these slums and not come out of them. Okay, education system mean to say that even the government is providing the free schools and all. These children, due to lack of money, due to poverty stricken, they are not getting access to education outside. Now the fourth stanza, very meaningful, and the last stanza of the poem. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Break, oh break, open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands. And let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open. History theirs, whose language is the sun. Very meaningful line, the last line. Now here the fourth stanza, after describing the types of children, the donations, the usefulness of the donations, now the poet has come towards the end. He is urging, he is forcing, he is requesting, pleading. Who? People in power. Who are they? Governor, inspector, visitors, as and when they come and visit. He is forcing these people, he is urging these people to help these children to come out of this slum area and give them access to education. Asking them to take these children to the lap of nature, right, near the seaside, and experience. They wants these children to experience the real world, right? So let's see, I have written the explanation line by line. First and foremost, the poet is asking the government and public to make these maps on the walls the children's vision, right? To make it their aspiration and an achievable reality for them. It is not only showing to them, but help them to experience the things, what they have seen. Help them to get the good education. The classroom windows which have restricted their opportunities have to be broken open. The poet uses break, oh break, right? He says break, oh break, open till they break the town. Means break this classroom window, slum classroom, and take them out, bring them out, and bring them to the reality, the real world, the outside world, the bright world, which are full of opportunities and education and all those facilities. So break, oh break, open, repetition and alliteration shows urgency to help them escape and achieve their dreams. They should be taken to green fields rather than dim slum. Green fields, lap of nature. Azure is deep blue color, like blue sky, used as antithesis to the foggy lead sky where they live. We have seen in the second verse, last line. Okay, covered with the lead sky. Their streets are covered with the lead sky, means copper color. It means to say that very, very dark. Whereas poet wants these children to go to run azure on gold sands. Where do you find gold sand? Near the seaside. Okay, seashore. So the poet wants these children to use deep blue color sky used as, so this is antithesis, okay, contradictory, okay, contrast with regard to the foggy slum. The sunny, warm scent of the beaches and the bright blue sky will instill a hunger in their minds for knowledge, and they will then absorb all of it. So when they look something new, bright, so their curiosity they will have the curiosity to learn more and more. Hunger, it will instill a hunger in their minds For what? For knowledge, to gain knowledge about all these things what they see. And then slowly they will start absorbing all those things. They will experience. White and green leaves is a metaphor. White implies the pages of a book, that is education. And the green leaves signify the clean environment and prosperity. Right? Here, both the way you can interpret white and green leaves. So, here, white implies the pages of a book, that is, the poet wants these children to have a good education. If they have the good education, if they see the clean and green environment, even they can earn for them. They can survive better life. They can lead a better life. Economical empowerment will come to these children. This also with regard to white and green leaves, like in terms of money. This way also we can interpret. So if the children get good education, if they study, if they explore the world, then definitely they will earn for themselves and their economical condition will be better. Economically, they will be empowered, right? Powerful last line. It is very beautiful line, children. History theirs whose language is the sun. Who all people do we read about in history? We read about those people who are ignited with the knowledge, who have done some contribution to the society, to the world, right? Means they are ignited with the knowledge. Same way, powerful last line, which means that the people who make history are the ones who speak, think, feel, and enjoy the sun. Mean to say that here sun refers to brighten, broaden the language, broaden horizon. Those who are very, very powerful, right? And those who are enlightened with the knowledge, empowered, only their names we read in history, right? So history is theirs whose language is the sun. So if you want to create the history, good history in future, then we should give education to all. Education is a basic human right for every child. Here I have explained few poetic devices. Similarly, in the earlier video also I have explained the poetic devices I have given for the first two verses. These are the poetic devices which are used in the last two verses. Few common poetic devices like alliteration and repetition and all that I have not added. It is very easy for you to follow and you can pick out very fast. Similarly, like bottle bits on stones, right? Slums as big as doom. Means slum is considered as a death. Here doom means decay. Okay, slum is like compared with the death. Like catacombs. Catacombs means underground tunnel. Mean to say that these children like living the life like catacombs. So just inside only and with the desperate condition. Metaphor, lead sky, this I have repeated. Cramped holes, I already explained. Slag heap, okay, the wasted bodies. Where skins peep through by bones. Let their tongues run naked into books. It is also metaphor, okay, education. White and green leaves open. So these all same poetic devices I have explained while explanation of the stanza was going on. Fine. Now let's see few question answers I have given, children. Please take note. We are uncertain about the things when the school will reopen and all. You know, I also know. So it is better for you to prepare the questions, whatever I am giving. Take it seriously, children. We may not get enough time to revise again all these things when the school reopens. Fine. That's why we are taking effort to teach you. So please take it positively and make a fair copy. It is compulsory for everyone. And write down the questions. Other than what I have given, you can also add a few more questions from the textbook and keep it ready, right? So that as and when the things will come smoothly, we can go ahead in the syllabus. Okay, we are not going to repeat the same. So here I have taken the questions as I have done in the first poem, apart from which are given in the textbook, other than in the textbook. And I have taken 6 questions in such a way that the entire poem will be covered. Maybe these questions are of 3 to 4 marks you can write. Describe the children in the classroom in the slum. So all the first full stanza will come in this. Okay. So 4 children are described. First is the tall girl with weighed down head. Okay. Responsibilities and miseries of life. Second was a young emaciated boy with rat-like eyes. Okay. Because he was poverty stricken, malnourished. and the third child was stunted due to disfigured bones, and which is inherited from his father's father, right? And finally, a small, quiet, and young boy sitting at the back of the class. So four children are described in the first, and all the four children are described in a different way. So that you have to write it. Second question: which common trait did all the children have? Now, though four children are different with a different quality, the poet has written, but what is the common trait in them? First and foremost, what can you write? Misfortune of taking birth in the slum. Please take note. Misfortune of taking birth in the slum. Right? Second, what can you write? The dreary, dull, and depressing conditions of the slum that had affected them all. Right? So, apart from poverty and hunger, despair, and gloom, it is in their destiny. Apart from poverty and hunger, what is despair and gloom are in their destiny. And the very important thing, these all children are ignored, we can say, and discarded by the society, right? And their future is bleak, uncertain, foggy. So I have given so many points. You may write one nice 6 marks question here. Third question: what does the poet mean by history is theirs as language is the sun? Just now I have explained, right? So I'm not going detail. So history speaks about only those, history remembers only those people who are enlightened like the sun. Here, enlightened like the sun means enlightened with the knowledge, with education. Fine. So otherwise, in these children, it is of no. So elite class people, rich people. So that is only we can say in the history, because they are ignited with the knowledge, they are enlightened with the knowledge, with the okay and education. Why does Stephen Spender say that the pictures and maps in the elementary school classroom are meaningless? Why does he say so? Because all these pictures are quite in contrast with the real life of the children. Right? Their real life is different, dark, uncertain, foggy, unclear. Whereas the pictures presented on the wall depicts bright future, bright world. Fine. So that's why it's of no use, because these children who are there devoid of all the opportunities of life, first thing, and it's far from their reach. Question number 5: what does the map of the world indicate? Okay, the map of the world is a, what is the map? Symbolic of hopes and aspirations. Why? Because it motivates the children to explore the world beyond. So it is a symbol. The map is here symbolic of hopes and aspirations, because it motivates, it encourages, it creates a curiosity among the children to explore the world beyond, right? The world which has been awarded to us by God with all its bounties. Last but not the least, what does the poet wish for the children of the slum? What does he want for the children of the slum? What exactly he wants? He wants these children to be exposed to opportunities. They should be provided good education, right? And they must be given chance to enjoy their life. Okay. So this way we are ending the second part of the second poem. So the second poem is completely over. Right? Now you may get next video maybe with regard to the text or the poem, whatever it is, but so far you should be ready with the first and second poem question answers, whatever it is. And please make a fair copy and note down, children, while listening the video. You may take points, you can note it down, so that nice notes you can prepare, because question answers when comes in the board, sometimes you have to write the exact describing words are very important for the board paper. Fine. So I hope you will do it. God bless you, children. Have a nice day.